thanks for being with us today. I'm so glad to have a chance to chat with you and have you share some of your story with our SPA community. So thank you for being here.
Not a problem. I enjoy talking with you all the time and also with our community.
Thank you. So, Gwen, you've had an amazing career that has taken you through some of the most famous of our federal agencies and really given you an experience in understanding the financing of our federal government. Can you kind of share your career path with us and how you got to where you are today?
Sure. I started out as a bright young kid from Alaska, Anchorage, Alaska, and decided that I was going to venture from Alaska and come down to the good old Washington, D.C. to figure out what life was all about. And boy, have I figured it out. I started my academic career at Catholic University of America, graduated from there with an undergraduate in accounting. So I ended up working with Senator Stevens for quite some time on the legislative side, got a very good broad perspective of the legislative process, and then ended up going and working for one of the biggest and the most dynamic federal entities called Department of Defense. I was a management and program analyst, did lots of things there in the Department of Defense. Unfortunately, I was there during 9/11 in the Pentagon, 3 Bravo 872. You never forget where you were. And that shaped a lot about emergency preparedness and emergency response with regards to financial management and how important monetary and federal reaction is towards crisis throughout our nation. So having had that experience, I ended up getting called upon to go to NASA, National Aeronautics and Space Administration, as the deputy CFO. Did such a stellar job for over a year. They couldn't find an actual CFO. It's a presidential appointment. So I ended up stepping up and becoming the CFO for NASA. Decided to take a break from federal service and pursue my academic interest at Yale and Morehouse College and doing financial management. And then after spending some time at Morehouse, finishing up that opportunity there, I came back to federal service to finish out my federal career. I am about 2 years away from that and getting excited. And I've been at Secret Service for the last 8 years and have been having a great time growing that next generation of leaders as well as teaching within the KEY program.
I'm curious to hear a little about your decision while you're having this amazing career out there. You made a choice to go back and get a master's degree with us. And I'm kind of curious to hear about that decision and what you learned in our classroom that maybe you took with you as you went back out into your jobs.
Well, I was at the Department of Defense at that point in time, and I was looking to progress in my career. I knew that I needed a master's program. I had went and I looked at several master's programs throughout the Washington, D.C. area, and as you know, there's plenty of programs that are out there. But there was one that several of my counterparts had talked about, which was the KEY program. I went and applied. I applied at a GS 14, barely a 15, and I think I was the youngest one in the class. So what I learned throughout that process was, number one, that you definitely have to have tenacity and stick-to-itiveness. Two, it really got me to the point where I became what they call a reflective practitioner and a reflective leader. So not only as things come at you, as things happen to you, as things happen around you, how you respond to it as a leader, as a person, and what it means to the people around you as you're trying to lead them through a crisis or through a situation or to a change or a change management opportunity. I learned a lot of those skills while taking classes in my master's program at American University.
Those sound like great skills for this day and time, right? With what we have going on right now. And so I would be curious to hear from you how you think about leadership in these times of crisis. You've been down this road before with at NASA and then with 9/11 at DOD, and then how you think about the response we have with leadership and the COVID crisis and what you're looking for from good leaders at this time.
Well, I'm looking for leaders that are definitely that know themselves, that are empathetic, that are willing to think outside the box, not this is the way it should be or this is the way the rules are. What is that gray area that the rules and the policies and processes and procedures allow for us to accomplish our mission, accomplish our job, make sure that we're doing everything that's legal, right, and does what we call pass the Washington Post smell test, but gives the flexibility so that we can do it in a way that's humane and meets the needs of individuals. People are having to telework. People are having to log on from home. People have children behind them that are trying to go to school. They've got husbands at home and they've been cloistered for quite some time. And you still want them to produce a work product. So we have to be flexible. And I'm going to tell you, I've also started challenging my leadership team that says, when we get through this, we may not return back to what we think is normal. Now that we know that we can do and we can work in this type of environment, what are those attributes that we want to carry into the future? So this is an opportunity for not only to reflect, but an opportunity to come back to the table with something that's very dynamic and a change.
I want to ask you just one more question, and it's about your consistent and long-term commitment to give back in SPA. And you are a beloved teacher to our students and bring so much wisdom to them and around budget and finance and those types of issues. Why do you do that? What drives you to give back in that way to SPA?
Well, this will probably be the first time you're hearing this from me, Vicki, but honestly, American University gave to me. It gave me the leadership tools. It gave me the leadership ability. It gave me the space to actually explore who Gwen was and what she wanted to be in the future. And knowing and having that kind of a community is something that you cannot get anywhere else. And it's something that I personally cherish. But that community also took me through, unfortunately, the death of my brother through cancer, my father with Alzheimer's. So the commitment of that community, the AU community, in and of itself continues to make me want to thrive and give back to the community. But then again, we also had the best and the brightest and the greatest students and student bodies. So I actually, after a hard day's work, or I've had a challenging day when I'm just trying to push that peanut up the road and, I'm running into bureaucracy, and I come to the campus and I teach a class and I see the young, bright minds of young ladies and young gentlemen that are just willing and ready to make the world different, that gives me something to go and it revives me.
I couldn't agree more. Our students are absolutely inspiring. Well, thank you so much for speaking with us today. It's been such a pleasure to hear from you and always great to see you and connect. And I look forward to visiting again soon in person.
And as they say, virtual hug.
And take care. Thank you.